Hey guys, and welcome to World of Warships with Voulezvous. In today's video, just as promised, I'm including 2 more Molotov matches, which are slightly less interesting than the one I used for my review video. By the way, if you haven't seen the review video, the link to this video should be popping up in the top right corner. It will give you the skinny on what I think about the Molotov, its stats in comparison to the tier 6 Budionni. And in this video we will only be focusing on the gameplay itself and how I approach using the Molotov to the fullest of its potential. Now, as with all of my videos, I do not usually choose some sort of monster games. I usually choose games which are rather average, and the reason behind it is that I want to show you what sort of game you can expect in a Molotov when just derping around and when you're still learning how to become a better captain. Right, so moving on to the first match. I'm spawning in the southern side of the map fault line, and it is a tier 6 match. There's even 2 tier 4 ships on the enemy team, and that just means that the Molotov should be an absolute seal clubber in this game.
Requesting fire support. Enemy force detected. Roger, proceeding.
There are 3 friendly ships on this side of the map. I have the friendly Aoba right behind me, going slightly slow, and there's also a Gniewny class destroyer right ahead of me who's providing all the spotting. He just spotted an Isokaze and I switched to HE. I want to help the Gniewny with the Isokaze. I want to get rid of it as quickly as possible in order to be a bit safer in this narrow area of the sea cap. So I get spotted and open up on the Isokaze and get a couple of good hits on it, and decide to open up on it one more time before I switch to AP and the cruisers, which are on the northern side of the cap. Get some more hits on the Isokaze, but I have to abandon attacking it now. I see the Nürnberg stay almost stationary. I open up on it and get a couple of hits with my HE, and now I quickly switch to AP rounds and open up on the Nürnberg, but I also noticed the dive bomber right ahead of me and start maneuvering in order to throw their aim off. Using the Control X function, I switch my guns to the right side of my ship, as I know I will be turning around. Keeping the AP on, I want to engage the Königsberg, which is still rather stationary in just one place there. The moment I stop being spotted, I start continuing my turn in order to avoid giving a broadside to the enemy cruisers. And as soon as my guns turn, I open up on the Königsberg just to catch it, change into going forward, and all my shells miss, which is not a big problem. But I see that the Königsberg seems to be willing to commit to entering the sea cap area, and that makes me decide to do the exact same. I have a bigger advantage when it comes to my firepower, and I also can angle myself much better than the Königsberg. That's the first Citadel hit, and another hit takes away a decent chunk of health points from the Königsberg. One more shot, 2 hits, and a Citadel again, just over 5,000 damage. And I know that the Königsberg is done. I've reached the moment where both my front and rear guns can actually be used to engage the cruiser. Another Citadel, 6 hits, open up on it again, and that's it, gone with another 2 Citadels and 3 normal hits. Now I see on the map that the Isokaze that was threatening me earlier on has decided to move away from the C cap and move towards the B cap. and it just died to our destroyer, which is really good. That means I'm free to cap. I see the Nuremberg moving away to the west and decide that there's no point of continuing north, and I'm just going to cut between those two big islands here and take a shortcut there and hopefully engage the cruiser from over there. Now I see that destroyer moving north, and I'm expecting the destroyer to move straight back on the sea cap the moment I vacate it, but I believe that it's completely fine. I want to destroy the Nuremberg first with my AP at 6 kilometers now, and he will be much closer once I clear this island. This should take no more than 2 salvos, and the destroyer and the cruiser will be gone. But Larkin in the friendly Minikaze up ahead does the job for me. Launches 3 torpedo spreads in the direction of the Nuremberg and just assassinates him completely. Now I point to the Larkin that there's a destroyer in the north, and I honestly thought, while playing the game, I thought that this was the Isukaze that I saw on the sea cap earlier on, and I knew that he was on low health. So I decided that half health Minikaze against a low health Isukaze shouldn't be much of a problem, and I decide to move on the B cap instead of trying to play ring around the rosy with much faster, much more agile destroyer. I've marked the carrier fighters for my AA, but as I mentioned in my review, the AA on the Molotov is worse than bad, and I wasn't expecting to get any hits, and that's exactly what I got. So now I'm halfway between the B cap and the C cap, and I noticed that Larkin in the Minikaze is asking for help. And I'm a little bit puzzled because I do still think that it's the Isukaze from earlier on, and just write to him that he's in low health and it should be a big problem for him to kill it. But something makes me check, and I turn my camera around just to make sure. And then it turns out it's a Clemson. It's a American gunboat, and that changes everything. I realized that Larkin and the Minikaze might actually just die if the Clemson decided to engage him. And therefore I quickly turned around and I give up on the prospect of getting some experience from capping the B cap, and make a beeline towards the Clemson. I want to make sure that he won't sink our New Mexico, who seems to be, well, it's impossible that he's not aware of the problem, but he seems to be sailing straight at the torpedo-loaded American destroyer, which is a little bit silly in my opinion. I asked the New Mexico captain to run away, and he assures me that it's exactly what he's doing. So I think we're living on 2 different planets here, but doesn't matter. Clemson pops up just for a moment. I take a clutch shot and open up on it, just taking away its torpedo launchers, which is really good. And guns reload again, open up on it again, and that's where I get the final blow and kill the destroyer. So, in my review of the Molotov, I mentioned that the Molotov has got a rather deceptively big turning circle, and this is exactly what I'm going to become a victim of in a moment. I was pretty sure that I would be able to turn around right in front of this island, but it's not going to happen. I'm gonna have to back up a bit, so you can, for the next minute or so, you can enjoy watching me getting myself out of this jump. The good news is that the enemy New York is still within range, and I managed to open up with all 3 of my batteries in its general direction, I want to set it on fire. The New York is returning fire, which is always a bit dangerous, especially when you're stationary, but it turns out that the New York forgot to switch from the default HE shells, and he's actually shelling me with his HE shells instead of using the armor piercing ones, so, you know, I'm in luck here. That's the first fire on the New York. I continue shelling it, just angling myself enough to be able to use all three of my batteries, and that gets me under fire, and that's the New York gone, and I'm bagging myself my third kill. With a dead engine, unfortunately, as I mentioned before, the engine seems to be dying pretty often on this ship for some reason, at least for me. So, taking stock of what's going on in the game right now, we seem to have a pretty significant advantage over the enemy. We've got 2 caps capped, pretty decent point advantage, and the only 4 ships left on the enemy team are 2 carriers and 2 destroyers. Larkin in the Minekaze writes that he's going to go say hello to the aircraft carrier in the north, and being polite as ever, I ask him to just convey my salutations to the enemy carrier as well, and decide to move towards the A-cap, basically just to secure it, and also help the battleship to the southwest with its destroyer problem. On top of that, I do have a hunch that I might actually be able to maybe find the remaining aircraft carrier if he's going to be somewhere north to the A-cap. As I'm moving up towards the A-cap, nothing happens for the next minute or so, so I'm just gonna quickly skip to the moment where I'm reaching the A-cap, and let's resume the action from there. Okay guys, so we're back now. We're just about to enter the A-cap. I switched to DHE shells because I am expecting to engage the destroyers to the south, when suddenly to my right a wild Independence appears only 8 kilometers away. I switched to AP. I just wanna want to see just how easy it is to citadel the carrier with those shells. I very politely write hi in the chat to the carrier. The first 2 shots the first 2 shots score hits but no citadels, but the third one already gets a citadel hit. Another citadel. In between the reloads, I decide to say hi for Larkin to this CB. Another couple of shots and 1 more citadel, 1 more shot there, and the carrier's gone. And I also managed to cap the cap, which will obviously give me extra experience. So I continue moving south, and I'm preparing to engage the enemy destroyer when the timer runs out and we win the game. Moving on to the final battle results screen, as you can see, this was a pretty decent game for me. 84 hits on target, which is half of what I achieved in the review video, which I honestly recommend for you guys to watch if you haven't seen it yet. I actually managed to shoot down 1 plane, which is very surprising for me. I raked in 4 kills, I set 5 fires on enemy ships, and I've also managed to get 8 citadel hits. That game gave me the first place in my team and just under 1400 of base experience, and the total damage came up to 81,000 and change, which is pretty decent. Again, this game was from the pre-patch times, so I can't show you the profits from this game, but the next game that we're just about to watch is already from the post-patch times, and it should give you a pretty decent idea of what kind of money you can expect when sailing the Molotov. Okay guys, so we've covered a tier 8 game in the Molotov review, and we've just had a tier 6 game in the previous match, and now let's move on to a tier 7 match on the New Dawn map, where I managed to demonstrate just how bad the AA firepower is on this ship. Okay, so I spawned in the southwestern corner of the map, and I'm thinking, I think I want to move on for the B and the C cap first. I'm expecting to be shelling some cruisers, trying to get into the B and trying to hide behind that island cluster between the B and C caps. So what I want to do is I want to let my team overtake me, and I want them to go straight for the C cap, and I'm basically providing cover for the Minikaze that's moving in on the B cap, and possibly engage any cruisers which will be showing up in this northeastern sector of my range. So going quarter of a speed right here, I see that the team has created a pretty strong formation there. The cruisers are screening up ahead, battleships catching up behind it, and that's the moment where two of the enemy destroyers get spotted. It's a Mahan and a Minikaze. And I am considering opening up, and the moment I see that the Minikaze is going in a straight line, I open up on it, and from well over 12 kilometers I get 2 hits, one incapacitation. And I want to open up on it one more time, see if I get lucky. Two and a half thousand, couple of hits and a fire. Minikaze is stuck on an island, so I'm just trying to make up my mind when it comes to the lead I need. Another hit, but that's the moment the enemy destroyer hides behind the smoke, and I lose vision of it. On to the Mahan. He's got his engines damaged, and I'll open up on the Mahan once. Now I see the Minikaze on the sliver of its health. I try to do some blind shooting in its general direction, but I'm not as lucky as I would like to be, and I turn away seeing the Aoba. I want to open up on the Mahan one more time, but that's the moment that I switch to AP, and I want to open up on the Aoba. Aoba is only 7.5 kilometers away from me. He's presenting a beautiful broadside, and I want to use this. So I angle my ship as much as possible. 5 hits and a citadel of 5,500 damage, which is a pretty decent result, but it could be better. Ready to shoot again. Open up on it, but the Aoba outsmarts me and slows down right behind the island there. He's slowing down, dropping speed even more. And he's speeding up now again. So I'm just to keep myself angled and open up on the Aoba with HE shells, setting it on fire. But I load AP again. See the Aoba is insisting on giving me a broadside. And I get 6 hits, but no citadel penetrations. And that's the moment the Aoba decides to angle itself away, and I get no effective hits. I stay with the AP for one more salvo. And do 880 damage. The Aoba is on leftovers of its health. I switch to HE. Open up on the enemy cruiser. And secure myself a kill. So, taking stock of the map developments again, we stormed the C cap. The majority of the enemy team managed to sort of bounce off the C cap once they realized that all of our fleet is going this way. So I turn towards the B cap and decide that the New Mexico, which is directly trying to dominate the B cap from the north, is going to be my next target. Obviously the idea here is to set it on fire and assist my battleships, which are all around me, with sinking it. So I take aim and open up on it. As I said before, the aim here is to start fires, just as I did now, with 3000 damage on top of that. Make the New Mexico repair and start some more fires again. So I opened up on the New Mexico again, but all of my shells managed to land on the island, so I take aim again, but this time on the Mahan. And I do actually manage to get a pretty decent shot on Mahan. He's almost dead. He's using smoke to protect himself, so I spread my shots around with the hope of getting the enemy destroyer with my last shot. And that's exactly what happened. And that's my second kill. And back to attacking the New Mexico. So I know I'm going to sail behind this island in a second, and it's actually really good for me that I actually managed to set the fire on the New Mexico before that happened. And now that the island is blocking my view, I quickly switch to the Mahan. I don't want to waste time. And I open up on the enemy destroyer. But he's very onto me, and he realizes that he's under fire and just drops speed instantly and disappears, which is very commendable of him. That was an excellent reaction. So knowing that the Mahan is to my right, and slightly to my right and behind me there's the New Mexico, I decide to slow down so I won't pull away from the New Mexico too far. He's still busy engaging as one of my battleships on the B cap, so I know I'm free to just open up on it, get 8 hits and deal some more damage. Now that the New Mexico is dead and there are 2 ships capping our B cap, I decide to move straight on the A cap, and I want to hunt this Mahan down before it gets our Nagato. That's the torpedoes from the Mahan. I see the Furutaka from behind the island there, and I open up on it, hoping that I'll get that cheeky blind shot. And I actually do start a fire on it and get a hit, which is really good. But that's the moment where the Furutaka disappears, and the next salvo just lands on the island, and that's quite unfortunate. So I start my spotter plane right now, and the Colorado just jumps into my gun's range, and I open up on it very quickly, but I'm very mindful of the Mahan here, and I keep looking at the map. At the moment the Mahan pops up, I launch one more salvo towards the enemy battleship, and I just look at the Mahan right here, and he's only 4 kilometers away, which is very dangerous. So I don't even notice that I managed to set the enemy battleship on fire twice, because this is much more of a dire situation here. I open up on the Mahan, I see his torpedoes coming out, I launch mine just to deter him from going this direction. I quickly drop speed, and I hope that this is enough to actually avoid the torpedoes. My guns are reloaded, I open up on it again and take away the majority of the destroyer's health. And my secondaries just finished the job. So, the battle is looking really good right now. I managed to even shoot one plane down, which is a big result for me. considering just how weak the Molotov's AA is. I'm moving in on the A cap and instantly start shelling the Colorado. He's too busy with engaging my battleships to the south, so I know I've got a free reign and the possibility of getting some more damage. So the first one got me a fire and the second one secured the Confederate award. As you can see, the Colorado is incurring about 2,000–3,000 damage per every salvo right now. And these are HE salvos, so I also get a chance of starting fires. Two and a half thousand. I'm 3/4 into capping the A cap. Almost there. And that's the A cap secure. So I'm getting really close to the Colorado now, and that's the moment I notice the torpedo bombers, which are really close up here, and the only thing I can do right now is just to wait and watch my ship being sunk by the torpedoes. And also enjoy the beautiful sinking animations the new patch has brought in. And that's the moment where I reach from my grave and manage to secure myself my 4th kill in the game. So guys, as you can see, this game is practically won, and I'm just going to save you the wait and quickly skip to the final battle result screen so you can finally find out what sort of money this kind of a game can give you in the Molotov. So, 98 hits, 4 kills, 11 fires, just 1 citadel, which is really low for the Molotov, and also the Confederate close quarters expert, and it's just a flesh wound awards. And this game gave me 450,000 of profit and 3,700 of experience, which translates into just over 1,600 of base experience and just under 79,000 of total damage dealt. Moving on to the profit tab, this game gave me 110,000 of pure profit after all the refits and repairs. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video, and if you have, do give it a like down below. It definitely helps the channel out to develop. And also hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more of my materials. There will be more coming out pretty soon. And for now, I say thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the open seas.